Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Monday Shorts, your brew of insights, stories, and conversations from the world of shipping. I'm your host, Khyati, and as always, I'm pleased to have you here with me today. Every episode of Monday Shorts is designed to spark curiosity, share experiences, and offer insights from some of the most dynamic minds in the maritime industry. Joining me today on Monday Shots is someone whose experience and perspectives are deeply respected across the maritime and trading industries. Mr. Manish Gulati, Director at Interocean Shipping. He's a seasoned professional with over 3 decades of experience in commodity trading and shipping related services. He began his career with the Interocean Group and over the years has built a well-rounded expertise spanning shipping, trading, and logistics, a rare blend that gives him a unique edge understanding the full spectrum of global trade. Mr. Gulati, welcome to Monday Shots. It's an honor to have you here on board with me today.
Thank you very much, Khyati. It's an honor and privilege to be on this platform. And to be honest with you, I was in two minds to come on this platform or no, because the last shot you had sent me of a stalwart in the shipping industry, the former chairman of the Shipping Corporation of India. So I was in two minds, that you having those kind of people on your show. So would it be fair on my part to be using this platform? But anyway, thanks very much for having me over. And congratulations to the Bainbridge team for using this platform and reaching vast maritime audience. But my curious question will always be, why is Monday being a very boring day, right? And when it is short. So either you make it Monday coffee shots to make it more
Well,
clear.
Definitely I'll give it a thought, but so as to get out of those Monday blues. So that's what we thought. Monday Shots, starting the Monday with something more exciting, something more informative, that's relevant to not just us, but all others also.
I'm sure.
That was the thought. And thank you so much for joining me today on Monday Shots. And I'm really very sure that our audience is going to get some great insights today from you.
See, generally the podcasts are very on very generic matters. Technical podcasts, I don't know how well they're going to go with your audience, because your audience, I'm sure, is a very well-read audience, right? Yeah. So I'm sure we both justify in giving my personal thoughts and insights on the industry, on the commodity, and they feel more empowered as an independent person.
Well, definitely, sir. And before I, ask you the technicalities, I am more interested in knowing a little bit about your past. Like, as far as I know, you are known as the thought leader in the dry bulk and coal in the shipping industry. So what fascinated you, to get into this coal industry, and, how did this niche become your professional identity?
Okay, so you're very kind with words, Khyati. I think I'm still work in progress as far as the industry is concerned. It's a very vast industry, the maritime and the commodity industry. But if I go in my past and see what has happened in the past 2+ decades, I think the whole coal aspect happened to me by chance.
Okay.
I had no thoughts or pre-plans to get into this industry, but I think it happened by chance. And when the chances became too frequent and they kept on appearing again and again and again, I think that's a time I made it my choice. Okay. And when it's your automatic choice and the choices go a little longer, you realize it becomes your calling.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I think all the C's have been very dominant in terms of coal, in terms of the chance, the choice, and the calling, that I'm part of this great industry and no regrets so far. So that's what I think. I'm into it.
Well, that's great. I mean, it's good to know that it's not just a strategic decision of yours to choose, coal as your interest area, but it's all luck by chance, and then.
Yeah, I think apart from luck, I would also say that I was also intrigued by the fact that shipping was only involved in moving coal from point A to point B. But I was also intrigued, as I said, to understand what goes beyond the origin and what goes after the destination, right? So how does the coal move from mines? What are the types of coal? What are the various origins of coal? How various origins of coal are different? What are the various logistic challenge in moving coal from mines to the port of loading? As far as destination is concerned, I was also intrigued and curious to know what are the different uses of coal in the Indian industries, for power, for steel, for sponge, various industries which require coal very promptly. So I think more than the interest, for the intrigueness to understand the full supply chain of coal, which I think prompted me to get into this industry.
So, Mr. Gulati, like I'm a non-technical person. I'm not from the shipping industry, but I have been listening to this word greener shipping, and we all know that world is moving towards renewables and greener shipping, of course, the new concept. So, but I have studied that India has increased its coal production and consumption over the years. So, what's your take on that? Do you think coal is literally declining, or is it just a strategic phase of self-reliance before a big leap?
Okay, very interesting question, Kathy. I don't think so. This question is coming from a non-technical person. Okay, so first of all, to address your question, I think it's not very fair to compare the Indian economy with the world economy, for a simple reason that industrialization as well as electrification came to India with a very late phase compared to the developed nations, and we are still growing. Okay, and India is dealing with a very complex situation of maintaining its growth rate, okay, and not having an energy crisis at the same time. We have to manage both. Having said that, we don't want to go in a phase where we go into a transition phase immediately without creating adequate resources for us. So to make your viewers understand this question more adequately and completely, we have to understand that this the whole aspect of phasing of coal is divided into three parts. One, what is the present scenario? What is the transition scenario? And what is going to be the change scenario? Okay. So as we speak about the present scenario, let's understand and acknowledge the fact that close to 75% of India's electricity generation is happening through coal. Now, we don't expect this 74% to become 47% or 24% or less immediately, right? It has to be phased out for a simple reason that it is the cheapest source of energy. Coal is the cheapest source of energy as we speak. So we don't want the energy crisis or the price of electricity to go up, okay? So that's the present situation. Apart from coal, the steel industry is also requiring this coal, right? Now, India is the second largest producer of the crude steel, and we produce close to 150 million tons of steel, right? Now, this and most of our requirements of coal for production of steel comes through imported coal, okay? And that cannot be phased out immediately. So these are the very two critical industries, and for any economy, power, steel, and cement are drivers. Okay, and since we are in a very growth trajectory, okay, we cannot afford to derail our growth path. Okay, we all know, and we are happy to know that we are the fourth largest economy in the world. Okay, with only Germany and China and US ahead of us. So that means we are on the right path so far. So what we need to do is we need to understand that we have to secure our present, but yes, we are conscious as global citizens. India is not ignorant or oblivious of the fact that it has got a social responsibility towards a greener future. Okay, so let's understand that from present, what is the transition phase? The transition phase is that if you start seeing this journey from 2010, close to 17% of our electricity production was coming from renewables, and 83 was through fossil fuels. This became 74 and 26. That is 74 by fossil fuel and 26 by renewables by 2020. And 2030, this energy mix is going to be almost 50%, right? And to add to it, let's also understand that in this transition phase, for the first time, the decline of electricity through coal has been by 9% only in the month of May 2025, okay, which is starting of your peak summer. It's a big achievement,
Right.
okay, and there has been about 32% jump of electricity production through solar, which has never happened. So that means something is already happening there,
Right.
which is a transition phase. And to understand where we are going from, the energy mix is going to be 50-50 by 2030. And I'm sure we're going to see a phasing out starting from 2030 to 2040. So that's how India is dealing with this complex situation of not derailing its growth rate and at the same time conscious of its responsibility as a global citizen.
So just now you mentioned, that India a little insignificant when it comes to China, the level of volumes.
That's what the figures say.
Yeah, that's what the figure says. Just a little question coming into my mind. Do you think that India will ever be able to get near to it, or surpass is a long story, but get near to what China's milestone, like? Because if I tell you, in all my previous podcasts, so China always comes in, picture when it comes to global shipping and all. And yes, they're doing just great. I mean, they're way ahead of us. But can we, reach that level? Can India be the new China when it comes to the shipping industry?
Okay, you are asking this question from a true Indian. Okay, for that, I would expect and see that India not only reaches China, but surpasses China to beat US. Because Indian economy is almost $4 trillion, okay? Whereas the market cap of a US company called Nvidia is $4 trillion.
Oh.
Okay, so that should be the benchmark, because China is only $19 trillion. Okay, and US is almost double of that. Okay, so that's what we should aim. So I would not say that we'll be able to beat China immediately or near future, but we will say we are on the right growth path as far as our growth is concerned. So let's not rule out the contribution or importance of China, because they buy a huge amount of agri products from Brazil, South America. They do huge amounts of Australia to China routes, because they've been a growing economy and they've been suppliers to the world. But things are changing in China also. The real estate is going through a different phase. So the steel demand is decreasing. The iron ore demand is decreasing. The coal demand is decreasing. So we will see a movement happening slowly and gradually toward. And China is also focusing more on batteries, on EVs, on different sectors altogether. So we will see a change. So our first target is to become economy number 3, and then we are 1, 2, 3, and then we'll see how to become economy number 1.
Definitely. I'm really hoping for that to happen soon. Okay, so Mr. Gulati, as far as I know, the global coal trade is highly impacted and influenced by geopolitical tensions and environmental regulations. So please tell me in detail that how does these external factors impact coal pricing, sourcing, trade routes, and other parameters as well. So how do you see them shaping the future of the coal shipping business?
So to explain the resilience of the shipping industry, I think I would like to add a few lines of Hindi, if you permit me to do so.
Yeah, please.
It says that लहरों के विपरीत चलती है ये, लहरों के विपरीत चलती है ये, तूफान इसका क्या बिगाड़ लेंगे? So that's how the shipping industry adapts itself in terms of the various geopolitical situations, whether it's a Trump tariff, whether it was the Red Sea crisis, where they had to adjust to the routes, not passing through Red Sea and changing routes through the Cape of Good Hope, whether we talk about now with the recent Iran and Israel tensions, and the Gulf of Hormuz has become a critical point, which significantly is almost about 15% of the world crude production is going to hamper because of that. That's a route. So all these things are going to be new normals. Okay. So talking about first thing, what happened on the geopolitical front. Okay. So like for instance, the Russia and Ukraine war. Okay. It caused a dramatic realignment of coal sourcing. Okay. It's a time when all the European nations turned to alternative suppliers like South Africa and Indonesia, banning Russian coal. So this shift where India was beneficiary of a discounted price of Russian coal, okay, and not only coal, at that point of time, India was also buying a lot of biggest importer of Russian crude, okay, when the Europeans wanted to ban the Russian origin of crude. India at that point of time was importer of Russian crude, and all the refineries on the ports of Russia, of India were, in high business of converting them into products, into diesel and petrol and exporting it back to Europe. Okay, so that crisis at time of the Russia-Ukraine war was an opportunity for India. Okay, both in terms of coal and also in terms of crude. So the industry evolves itself, adapts itself to a crisis situation. Okay, and just to add to the geopolitical situation, when there were tensions between Australia and China, so when China had banned Australia and coal, and then we had alternative sources of other Asian countries exporting to China. But it's not about who's buying from whom. It's about how the coal gets from point A to point B.
Point B.
Okay, and how efficiently it goes there. That's more important. And it's not only that the crisis does not lead to an opportunity. To take a cue from the Red Sea crisis, okay, when the shipping industry had to adjust itself to alternative route from the Cape of Good Hope. Now that activity was boosting freight, okay, even slowing down the coal demand, okay. But Kathy, it's not about who's buying from whom. It's also about coal reaching its critical point where it is required. So when the Red Sea crisis arose, the shipping industry was responsive and adapted immediately to alternative route of Cape of Good Hope. Okay, although it was a longer route, but it boosted freight demand because the ship were more engaged for a longer period of time. So it boosted the shipping business even at a time when the Western countries had using alternative sources than coal.
Right.
So Kathy, to address the later part of your question, which says about the evolving environmental regulations, okay. So shipping is a very regulated industry. Although ships contribute to only 4% to the world emissions, okay, that's all. 96% doesn't come through this industry. But being so regulated and governed by IMO, shipping industry is very conscious of moving towards a sustainable future and green shipping. But the issue is not with the ships, the issue is with the fuels. Okay, we are not able to zero down on the right energy mix so far to be used as a right fuel for the ships. Until that is decided, ships will not be able to adapt itself in terms of engines, in terms of mechanism, so which is the right kind of fuel. So it always says, show me the right fuel, I'll show you the right ship. Okay, so right now we are also in a transition phase for the right energy mix, availability of the right fuels. Okay, and once that happens, I'm sure shipping will be the first industry to adapt itself in terms of its requirements to a greener tomorrow. So we need to wait till that time. But of course, that will go to push to the shipping cost, because the fuels and the ships will come to the cost at a particular cost. And ultimately, these costs have to be passed to the trade.
Okay, so Mr. Gulati, so far we have discussed so much around coal, its future prospects, its past, history, everything. But as we're nearing the end of this episode, one final question that I have in my mind. Is, what does the future of coal industry look like to you? And do you think coal will still hold a significant place when it comes to global energy mix in a decade from now?
Okay, so one thing is for sure, Kathy, that my fascination of coal will become your fascination after this end. Okay, so this question of whether coal is going to hold its position has been coming in various forms and shapes for last many decades. Okay, but the flavor of the commodity has not gone down. Okay, it has changed from imported to domestic, it has changed origins, it has changed routes, patterns, everything, but we still see a lot of coal into our lives. So it's not going to fade out immediately as we speak. But having said that, we can significantly see that the global consumption of coal has already reached its peak. Okay. And now on, it will only come down moving forward. We gave an India example that our electricity generation in the month of May is on coal-based power plants has come by 9%. Okay, and India always leads in terms of energy production through coal. So this will also follow to other nations, other developing nations who have more dependence on coal. But having said that, it's just not about phasing of coal. It is about creating alternatives. Okay, till we create alternative, we should not even think of actually phasing out coal, because coal is a cheapest form of energy mix, as said on previous occasions. And the right kind of alternatives are, of course, solar and wind, which comes with its own challenges. Okay, it comes with the challenge of stability. It comes at the challenges of its availability, because solar is available at different time zones. Its peak is at different, its non-peak is different. How do we handle that? And the major issue regarding creating alternatives is about storage of electricity and power. Okay, alternatives and renewables need a very high percentage of battery storage. Okay, which India at the moment is insignificant to world storage. Till we are able to have adequate storage facility in India through renewables, we will not be able to do a very fast transitions. Okay, so yes, coal is phasing out in terms of its requirement, but the phase out will be slow in a very phased manner unless the renewables are able to take care of the rising demand of power. Because power and steel, India and other developing, will continue to rise.
It will have its own strategy, to
yes, going forward, coal will give way to renewables, but in a very phased manner. But don't worry, in next 10 years, it's not going anywhere.
Great. And with that, we come to an end of this episode. Mr. Gulati, thank you so much for sharing all the insights. I think we have covered a lot of ground today with regard to coal and dry bulk industry, steel production in India and globally, of course. India, China, comparison also. And for me, it was a very wholesome conversation. I literally gained a lot of insights, and I'm sure our audience must have gained too. And thank you for taking out time, and I hope you had enjoyed discussing all of that.
Thank you very much, Kathy. You're a very pleasurable anchor. Okay,
thank you.
And the questions came very extempore. Okay, it doesn't look like you prepared. They all came through your fascination, and I'm sure your intrigue, which was my intrigue some years back. Okay, the pleasure is all mine, Kathy. Thank you very much for having me on this platform, and I hope the content which we created today serves the purpose to your viewers. Okay, and we look forward for many such interactions in future.
Well, definitely, sir. It will serve a great purpose to all our listeners and our audience. And thank you once again for taking out time for this discussion. And to our viewers, thank you for tuning in. Do not forget to like and leave a review for us. Until next time, this is Khyati on Monday Shots.